My spouse cheated on me. We've got kids together, and I don't want to get a divorce. So, is this something that I can get over? And in all the support groups that I've joined online, this is a question that gets asked more than any other question. And this one's tricky because I can tell that people have the thought, if I give this enough time, can I get over this? Can I move past this? And there's a saying out there that says, look, time heals all wounds. And I don't believe that that's true, especially in our intimate relationships. What I see more often than not is that time just allows things that are unaddressed and unresolved. It allows emotions like anger to just intensify, to fester a little bit, and then to turn into resentment, where things get even worse. Because when resentment takes foot in a relationship, now it starts to turn into aggressive or passive aggressive behavior, and that really doesn't do anything good at all for a relationship. So if time doesn't heal any wound, then what's the alternative? And the alternative is really to dig into why an individual had an affair in the first place, whether it was a physical affair or an emotional affair. This is oftentimes what doesn't get talked about because this is tricky, and most of us like to avoid tricky, difficult, sticky, uncomfortable conversations. But at the end of the day, this is what really matters. Like, what was it that led that person to cheat? What was the desire, the need that wasn't getting met? What was it that they wanted? What was it that they were feeling that drove them somewhere else? And to just focus on someone's stated commitments of, I won't do that again, things will be different in the future, doesn't really address the violation of trust, right? It's really, really important that the person who had the affair even gets connected to why they had the affair in the first place, because this is oftentimes unknown. All they know is that there was some pain, there was some suffering, and this seemed like a good way of getting rid of the pain and the suffering. So what should you do? And this is where I advocate for couples therapy, right? I think finding a good marriage and family therapist or a couples counselor to unpack this stuff is going to be hugely necessary because, like I just said, oftentimes the person who had an affair doesn't even really know, at least, in detail, like they may not know really clearly what led them to do that in the first place beyond feeling icky and feeling like their quote unquote needs weren't getting met. And a therapist can really help to unpack this. And really, anytime there's an issue of abuse or an addiction or an affair, that's when I'm saying, look, this kind of crosses the line from coaching and really gets into counseling. So if you find yourself in this boat, and I know a tremendous number of people out there do find themselves in this boat, and I've got a lot of compassion for you, the best thing to do is to find a therapist. And there's a sticking point with that too, and that oftentimes partners don't want to go to couples therapy. So what do you do when that presents as a problem? And I would wager to say that I don't think in most cases it's an aversion to couples therapy. I think many people, men especially, have a real aversion to feeling like they're being forced to go to couples therapy. And that, luckily, is something that you can do something about. So if you find yourself in this situation, you would like to dig into it and try to save and repair the relationship, but you don't feel like your partner would be open to doing that, I would encourage you to reach out and let's have a conversation about that, because there are ways that you can set up this type of a conversation, this sort of an invitation to getting some additional support that will avoid provoking any sort of defensiveness in your partner, will avoid them just getting resistant because they feel like this isn't their idea and it's something that they're being forced to do, and will actually create an opportunity for them to step forward and say, look, I'm willing to do this. This does seem like this will move us forward, and I want to move forward too. And there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. So again, if that sounds interesting to you, shoot me a DM here on Facebook or reach out to me through the contact form on my website. Take care.